Besides this, it's up above. Stupid. Ryan Reynolds made a fortune of more than $600 million. America loved him as a funny guy after he married Blake Lively. But he finally told the truth in 2025. The panic attacks that almost made him quit his job. The behavior at the start that co-stars called mean. He hid the bad things that happened to him as a child behind jokes for many years. And the real reason he almost gave up acting for good. This conversation was different from the rest. We thought everything we knew about Hollywood's golden boy changed when he told the truth. Ryan Reynolds was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, on October 23, 1976. His family was very strict and Catholic, and there was always chaos. He was the youngest of 4 boys. His father, James, used to work for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and now sells food for a job. His mother, Tammy, worked in retail, and Ryan often said that he was the family's moving target. With 3 bigger brothers named Jeff, Terry, and Patrick, he had to learn quickly how to handle getting hit and teased by them. It was like going through a minefield at home because of his dad's temper. Even birthdays could end in silence or yelling. But Ryan didn't give up when things got tough. Instead, he sharpened his wit to block out the pain, using humor as armor. In Vancouver, he went to a Catholic school. He started at Prince of Wales Secondary School but was kicked out, so he finished at Kitsilano Secondary. Ryan was always funny, even when he was young. He would act like TV figures and play jokes on his brothers just to have fun or feel in charge for a short time. He felt so trapped in his home life when he was 12 that he started to try out for acting roles. He got lucky and got a job on Hillside, a Canadian teen drama that became 15 on Nickelodeon. He got $150 for each show, which, along with his paper route money, felt like a lot of money. It set him free, gave him confidence, and showed him what life was like outside of his stressful home. He still had a hard time getting along with his dad. Before he died in 2015, James Reynolds fought Parkinson's disease for almost 20 years. At 74. Ryan once said that his dad was stuck in pride and couldn't show how he felt. Ryan also felt bad about not being able to connect with them. He turned to performance even more because he didn't feel safe at home. There, he could be someone else and finally feel seen. His Irish Catholic family culture was based on telling stories, making quick responses, and verbal fighting. Ryan, who was the youngest and smallest, had to fight for attention at meals by telling quick jokes with quick punchlines. His family had a history of working for the government. There was even a politician in Alberta who was his grandpa. Ryan, on the other hand, found his calling as the family clown. He first appeared on Hillside, a show for teens that dealt with serious problems, when he was 13. He filmed parts in both Vancouver and Ottawa while also delivering newspapers 1 day a week. He thought he had struck gold, but the job showed him that the entertainment business was tough and sometimes mean. Still, it gave him a reason to live. Ryan was in 65 episodes of the show, which ran until 1993. He made around $2,000 an episode and often showed up to work without any lines written, often making them up on the spot. Some co-stars didn't like this, but it also showed a natural charm that couldn't be ignored. He played a kid who was dishonest, but his sense of humor often came through, which led to more than one take. In 1992, his co-star Laura Bertram said he put fake spiders in her room, which got him in trouble on the set. Reynolds said it wasn't true, but he was banned for 3 days anyway. It was easy to understand. If you don't play the game, you could get benched. He got his first real taste of office politics that day. After Hillside, Ryan joined the cast of the fantasy show The Odyssey in 1993, where he played a boy who was in a coma and had to find his way through a dream world. During a night scene in 1994, the emotional demands of the show gave him his first panic attack. He didn't tell anyone because he was afraid it would hurt his job. The attack hurt him, and he stopped taking on emotionally heavy parts. Coming to comedy as a safe place to be. He started at Kwantlen Polytechnic University in 1995, but only stayed for 28 days. He quit his job to become an actor full-time, and to make money, he did night shifts at a Safeway store. He almost lost everything because of that choice. Two guys in masks broke into the store one night in 1996 during the graveyard shift. Ryan was so scared that he hid behind a bar for 12 minutes. Because he was afraid, he did dangerous things like leave Canada for good. At the end of that year, a friend talked him into moving to Los Angeles. They stayed at a hotel that costs $200 a month. His Jeep was broken into and stolen on the first night. He drove a car with no doors to auditions for 4 months, but he was laughed at and turned down every time. To make money, he did telegram gigs dressed as a chicken. He felt bad about every choice he'd made at one party where drunk people threw food at him. In 1995, he had his first part on US TV in a movie with Glenn Close. He thought it would make a big difference, but most of his parts were cut. It was a harsh reminder of how quickly new stars could be replaced. He made an X-Files episode with a scary theme in 1996 and was so upset by it that he had nightmares for weeks. After that, he never did another horror part. He had a part in the real crime miniseries in Cold Blood that same year. In order to get ready, he read real murder case files and body photos, which made him so sleepless that he couldn't sleep for weeks. It really hurt my mind. That's when he learned how bad method acting could be when the material was full of pain. Things were at their worst by 1997. His more than 300 tests didn't go well. Casting directors told him straight out that he would be forgotten. One person even said there was nothing interesting about him. He almost broke after hearing that. Ryan almost quit comedy theater, but he went back because he wanted to find happiness again. Something clicked at that very moment. He used what almost destroyed him to build one of the most amazing careers in Hollywood. In 1998, Ryan Reynolds got his big break when he played Michael Bergen, who was better known as Berg. There was a show on ABC called Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. It wasn't meant to last, it was just something to fill time. But Berg stood out from the very first show. He was the type of person who got into trouble but laughed his way out of it, making you root for him. Because Reynolds made the role so fun and funny, the show ran for 4 seasons, with a total of 81 episodes. What began as a comedy about a pizza shop based on a real store in Massachusetts quickly grew into something bigger, and Reynolds was in the middle of it all. About 18 million people watched the pilot on March 11, 1998. Nielsen gave it a score of over 15 and put it 11th for the week. ABC hadn't had a show with such a big start since Spin City. Reynolds' crazy charm was a big part of his success. Berg was taking test drugs for money in the very first show. It wasn't your typical show plot, but it worked. And because the Drew Carey show was on right before it, more and more people kept watching. ABC bought more episodes right away. A short-lived show got a second chance all of a sudden. The group getting along with each other helped. Richard Ruccolo and Traylor Howard were easy for Reynolds to play off of. They put together something strong. After that, people like Nathan Fillion and Suzanne Cryer joined, making the group even stronger. Reynolds has said that he loved the group very much, and he still talks to some of them after all these years. But it wasn't just players. Some famous people, like Carmen Electra and Nomar Garcia Parra, showed up. Even Blink-182 and Bar and Naked Ladies showed up. Reynolds couldn't stop making his co-stars laugh behind the scenes. The mistakes say it all. The Pizza Place was gone by the 3rd season. The people had changed. Berg wanted to become a doctor. Sharon had moved on, and Pete was going to become a fireman. The show's name was even changed to just Two Guys and a Girl. 12 million people watched the show at its peak in season 2, but then it moved to Friday nights in 2000, which became known as the Death Slot. In the last season, only 6.7 million people watched. Reynolds kept the show together, though. His job changed, but his charm stayed the same. The ending was way ahead of its time. Fans could decide online for the ending and the twist. Ashley gets pregnant in the end. Reynolds' next big movie was Van Wilder, a movie about a college party that almost didn't include some of the scenes that people still remember. Early cuts took out the parts where he was at a party naked, but test viewers wanted to see the wild version again. That scene with the whipped cream really paid off when they got it. The movie made $50 million around the world, but it only cost $5 million to make. Two-thirds of the people who bought tickets came back again. Joked later that it would make family meals awkward from now on, but it did lead to his next paycheck of $2 million. Then in 2003, Foolproof came out. Reynolds played a con artist, but this time the idea for the part came from his own dark past. As a kid, he pulled scams, like making up charity drives. He used those memories to play the part. But the movie didn't do well. It cost $8 million to make but only made $1 million. Reynolds stopped talking. He didn't leave his room for months. He didn't show up for auditions or talks. His assistant had to step in and help. It was the worst time of his life. After that, he said he almost went back to Canada. He got through it with the help of therapy and kept going. Blade, Trinity in 2004, was his next move, and it went badly. Wesley Snipes wouldn't work with him on the same parts. Snipes stopped talking and started sending post-it notes instead because they were so hard to understand. One note just said, "I'm not working with this jerk." Reynolds kept making up new lines, Snipes got madder, and the atmosphere on set turned violent. The number of days needed for reshoots went from 90 to 150, which cost the company an extra $12 million. Reynolds lost out on other big parts because of the wait. After that, he even put a Snipes clause in his contracts to stay away from bad co-stars. Fans still said Reynolds was the best thing about the movie. Things got stranger in 2005. The Amityville Scare wasn't just a remake of an old horror movie. Reynolds chose to live in the fake spooky house that they built for the movie. The man stayed there for 23 nights in a row, in the same bedroom where the killings took place. He said the temperature dropped for no apparent reason, he got strange scratches on his body, and he even had dreams about the killings. The group got a video of him sleepwalking. He later said that part of the reason was for business, but he also said that not everything could be explained. The movie made more than $100 million around the world. Just Friends made a different kind of conflict that same year. Reynolds was married to Alanis Morissette, but he fell in love with Amy Smart on the set. There was one scene that wasn't even in the plot. Reynolds' kiss on Smart was so lively that the director didn't stop shooting. These two practiced that kiss a few times away from the camera as well. It was said that Morissette would be there, so she did. People who saw the fight say they went on for hours in his trailer. After 6 months, they called off the engagement. After the fact, Reynolds said Schutt taught him how risky method acting could be, especially when love stories got too real. Ryan Reynolds' path to becoming a superhero didn't start out well. There was silence at the start. He was in X-Men Origins, Wolverine in March 2009. They didn't give fans the funny Deadpool they wanted, though. Instead, they sew his mouth shut. Taking away everything that made the character unique, they used his skills from other mutants to make him a random science experiment. The movie made $373.1 million around the world, but there was harsh criticism right away. Fans felt lied to. Reynolds later said that the choice was one of the stupidest studio notes ever, and he even said sorry in public. He kept thinking about this mistake, though, and he wouldn't let it go. It got worse after 2 years. The movie Green Lantern came out in 2011. Warner Brothers spent $200 million on it, but it only made $220 million around the world and $116.6 million in the US opening weekend only made $53.2 million, which was a lot less than what was expected. It was a mess behind the scenes. The company made Reynolds do a lot of extra 3D work that was hard on his body. He lost 20 pounds because he was stressed. Things got so bad that he thought about suing the company. Later, director Martin Campbell said it was the worst time he had ever had with a movie. It was too late. Warner Brothers even added $9 million more right before the movie came out to fix the images. It then got tricky with the suits. The Green Lantern costume was made entirely with computer graphics. It was a big idea that didn't work out well. Leaks from test screenings showed that the suit was glitching in the middle of a scene, which quickly became a joke. Reynolds got hurt several times while wearing motion capture gear every day. The budget for visual effects went up to $55 million, and adding 3D conversion to that made the job load too much to handle. Warner had to hire companies all over the world to do the VFX. People who saw early footage and tests didn't like it at all, so Warner stopped advertising. They even took out a CGI scene before the credits, but then they quickly added it back in the hopes that it would help. It wasn't. Reynolds tried again in 2013 with R.I.P.D., a $130 million buddy cop movie with Jeff Bridges. The movie did not do well at all. It only made $78 million around the world and got a 15% score from critics. Reynolds' comedic style and Bridges' more serious method acting didn't go well together. People didn't get the jokes, especially the weird twist that made Reynolds look like an old Asian man and Bridges look like a blonde model. It couldn't be saved, not even $16 million in video sales. After the fact, Bridges said it didn't work because the company wouldn't let them make the movie they wanted. And then there was The Change-Up, a comedy with Jason Bateman that came out in 2011. The tone made it hard to understand, and it only made $37 million. What's the story? The two guys want to switch lives, so they pee into a magical fountain. Reynolds pushed for crazier scenes, and some of them were so bad that he was allegedly not allowed to go to a family event. The writers had made something fun. But Reynolds and Bateman took it in a way that made family viewers not want to watch it. Was more bad news for his job. Ryan wasn't done yet, though. He worked hard for 10 years to make things right after the Deadpool mess in 2009. He spent $500,000 of his own money in 2012 to make a test reel, which was a small scene of Deadpool as fans knew him. Fans went crazy when that video clip got out and was seen 20 million times in 2 days. Fox finally paid attention and gave the movie the go-ahead in 2014. It came out in 2016 and made $783.1 million on a budget of $58 million. Reynolds was nominated for a Golden Globe. Fans at last got the version they had been waiting for, and it was all because Reynolds never gave up. Reynolds made up one of Deadpool's most famous lines while shooting. Putting in your best effort while trying to give a scene life. It wasn't all jokes, though. When the cost went over $70 million, Reynolds had to take out a mortgage on his house and sell property. He was so stressed out that he lost 15 pounds and couldn't sleep. He would lose everything if the movie didn't do well. It didn't, though. The risk paid off because it was a huge hit. Reynolds got back at the past in Deadpool 2. In one scene, Deadpool kills the quiet version of himself from the beginning of the X-Men. It was a risky move that took months of legal talks with Fox. $785.8 million was made from the movie, but Reynolds had a terrible accident while shooting it. He was thrown 12 feet when a motorbike stunt went wrong. He was in the hospital for 3 days, and work stopped for 2 weeks, which cost $2.1 million. He stopped pulling his own pranks after that. There was a big fight in 2019, when Disney paid $71.3 billion to buy Fox. All of a sudden, Deadpool was working for Disney. It was thought to be PG-13. Reynolds put up a strong fight. He met with execs and showed them data that showed superhero movies with their ratings could do well. He even told them he would quit the brand if they didn't tone it down. In the end, Disney agreed. Deadpool would stay AR movie. After that came the big payoff. After beating Joker, Deadpool and Wolverine made $1,338 billion, making it the highest-grossing R-rated movie of all time. Reynolds played 2 different kinds of Deadpool, the original and a more emotional, clean-cut version called Nice Pool. Reynolds cried during reshoots while shooting scenes about Wade Wilson's relationship with Laura because the performance was so powerful. A daughter figure. There were tears. He even went to therapy while he was shooting because the stress was so much for him. Reynolds wasn't just a superhero at those times. He had worked hard for more than 10 years to make a figure come to life in the right way. It was never Ryan Reynolds' goal to be just another Hollywood star. In 2018, he helped to start Maximum Effort Marketing and also bought a share of Aviation Gin. It was named after a popular drink from the early 1900s and had been around since 2006, but Reynolds was the one who made it go off. The brand's sales doubled in just 1 year. It became the second most popular luxury gin in the country thanks to his funny ads and friendly personality. Then, in August 2020, the British booze giant Diageo paid about $610 million to buy Aviation Gin. Reynolds got $335 million up front, and if certain goals are met, he could get another $275 million. He also didn't leave. He kept his job as the brand's face and held a stake in it, which showed how much he believed in it. He went into a whole new world because of the same idea. Welsh football. Reynolds and Rob McElhenney shocked everyone in September 2020 by saying they were going to buy Wrexham AFC, a small club that was about to go bankrupt. They had it by February 2021. It got almost 100% of the fans' votes in favor. After COVID-19 and years of chaos, the club was barely hanging on at that point. They played in the 5th level of English football. The pair lost their first game together, but they came with power, cash, and cameras. This is the FX show Welcome to Wrexham. They wrote about their trip. In just 19 years, the club went from being worth $175 million to being worth $475 million. Reynolds still had business ideas. He bought a lot of shares in Mint Mobile, a cheap phone service, in 2019. Mint became a big name with just cheap ads and jokes about how silly they were. Then, in March 2023, T-Mobile paid $135 billion to buy Mint's parent business. Reynolds worked out the deal himself and made $300 million to $337.5 million from his share. He kept making ads after the sale, so he wasn't just a salesman. He was the heart of the brand. Reynolds created and played the lead role in the 2021 movie Free Guy. He played an NPC in a video game that learns about itself, which brought up issues of AI and identity. It made more than $330 million, even though it cost about $100 million to make. He didn't agree with the writers on the story because he thought it was too emotional. He even made up a lot of the ending on the spot, and in one scene, his head was digitally attached to a bodybuilder. It was worth it. The pictures in the movie were nominated for an Oscar. Reynolds' firm, Maximum Effort, was bought by performance TV network MNTN in 2022. He became their chief creative officer and kept Maximum Effort somewhat separate. He could use cutting-edge connected TV tools after the move. The company kept running ads for Mint, Aviation, and other businesses. Max Effort kept its quirky, human edge even as AI became more popular in marketing. By 2025, AI is expected to be worth $190 billion. Business is important, but it's not everything. Reynolds' domestic life has been just as exciting. In 2008, he married Scarlett Johansson, but they were no longer together by 2010. Their 8-year age difference and busy work lives drove them apart. While making Green Lantern, he met Blake Lively. Claims of cheating quickly spread, making the breakup even worse. Later, Johansson said she had idealized marriage because she was too young to understand it. Reynolds didn't wait for very long. Soon after, he began seeing Lively. Before Scarlett, from 2004 to 2007, he was deeply in love with Alanis Morissette. They hit it off right away when they met at Drew Barrymore's birthday party. They said their love was like a trampoline because it was so intense and unexpected. They never set a date to get married, though, and broke up and got back together before breaking things for good. Morissette was heartbroken, and she used her pain to make her 2008 record, especially the sad song Torch. Reynolds got married to Blake Lively in 2012, and the two of them have 4 children. Finally, Olin arrived in early 2023, following James in December 2014 and Inez in 2016. They kept Olin's birth a secret for months, so fans were shocked when Lively told them in a strange way. Reynolds makes fun of how crazy their house is by calling it house violence in the nicest way possible. He joked that he would need a vasectomy to keep up with all the activity. Taylor Swift is their best friend and the aunt of their children. She also makes fun of Reynolds a lot online. Reynolds has always had worry, even though he seems nice on the outside. He finally gave up when they were shooting Buried in 2010, and he had to act the whole time from inside a coffin. Panic attacks were caused by the stress, the weight of the box, and being alone. He went crazy because he couldn't sleep and his melatonin packages were held up at customs. A mic on his chest let the team keep track of his heart rate, which went through the roof during takes. After many years, in 2018, he talked about how he deals with things. Scripts family trips, uses apps to track his mood, and meditates with tools like Headspace. Blake has said that his need to please others comes from being bullied as a child. Now, they teach their kids more than just how to be happy. They teach them how to know themselves. Reynolds loves walking his kids to school. It's his favorite part of the day. It's not easy for him, but he's making his house healthy. Better than the one he grew up in. In 2025, Reynolds and Lively were sued by Justin Baldoni for $400 million for slander. During the It Ends With Us movie scandal, Baldoni said they were trying to hurt his image. The case was thrown out in June because the judge thought it was all made up. Baldoni felt bad about himself, and his lawyer was likely to be sued for malpractice. Things got rough for Reynolds and Lively in court, but they got through it quickly. Fans were shocked when Reynolds told them at TIFF 2025 that he almost quit acting. After movies like Green Lantern and R.I.P.D. didn't do well, he talked about how burned out he was. He didn't feel like he had any say in his job. Rachel Weisz and Sandra Bullock helped him get better and taught him how to take responsibility for both his successes and failures. In the same year, one of his most personal albums came out. A movie called I Like Me about John Candy. Reynolds looked up to Candy, and when she died at age 43, it hurt him. Working with Colin Hanks, he made the movie using family records and private videos. The title came from what Candy said in Planes, Trains, and Cars. And Reynolds wrote, "Get ready to cry," when he announced the project. As rumors spread that Reynolds was going to quit, he shocked everyone in October 2025 by deciding to do more. Jason Momoa and Aubrey Plaza are in the movie Animal Friends, which he agreed to do. It will not come out until May 2026. He also moved forward with plans to add 7,000 seats to Wrexham AFC Stadium in Wales by the summer of 2026. The new look of the stadium was created by the same company that worked on Wembley. UEFA Under-19 games will be held there. Reynolds has, of course, been criticized. In 2025, old reports of bad behavior on the set came up again, mostly from actor T.J. Miller. He said Reynolds cursed at him on set in a way that seemed too real. When the case against Baldoni was brought up, the story really took off. Reynolds finally said sorry, saying that imposter syndrome made him feel weak and fierce. A book is now something that a lot of people are looking forward to, where he will face these monsters straight on.